Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you finished pages for January. It's quite unusual because it's still January today and I'm already going to show you my finished pages. If you saw some of my previous videos about month's results, you know that it's usually happened around the 10 of the second month, but today I think I'm ready. I have very few colored pages this month, like extremely few, only 3 of them, but I'm so proud of every result. I think this might be top 3 best pages of mine. And I took my time with them. I wasn't in a hurry. I was just working, very dedicated to each page. This is why it took me a while. But also we had to move out of our house for a few months, I guess, because we have a terrible water damage on the first floor. If you ever done any big fixing in your house, you know how long it could take, especially if your insurance involved. So from the whole month I had maybe 15 coloring days, so only half a month. This is why I have few works, and the complexity of the finished pages are also very high. So all 3 pages are done in Kerby Rosanes Imagomorphia. So this was a page from December. I actually finished it in the early January. This double page spread took me forever, but I think the result is really great. You can find out more about this double page spread in my previous video, what I call it in December. So let me just proceed. So this was my first finished page for January. This elephant received a lot of love on Instagram, and I also did a whole separate video about how I'm coloring gold. So I won't go into all the details, you can watch this video for it, but just some technical information. So the background is done with watercolors. I used acrylic paint, white acrylic paint, to cover all the doodles on the background, not all of them, but most of them. Then I did watercolor background, and then I made these white lines with acrylics for all animals in the doodles. I think they suit this picture well, and also I wanted to avoid this very empty space on the background, and also they help in hiding whatever left of the black lines of other doodles a little bit. This line I, as you can see, draw myself. Yeah, I'm no Kerby Rosanes, so it turned out like this, but I think that the main elephant kept all the attention to itself, and you don't actually see all these little mistakes that I made. So for the elephant, I used white acrylics to cover all the black lines, and then I used polychromos on top to create this gold effect. I really like to work with polychromos. They're beautiful pencils. I just can't name any other brands that I like so much. Even Prismacolors, despite them being very popular among colorists, I know, but I think they're just not for me. They're too creamy, and polychromos give me this sharp point for longer, and also I can really predict how they will behave on the surface, so on paper or on acrylic, it doesn't matter. They are really predictable, while Prismacolors not so much, and they also smudge a lot, and I don't really like it. So, you know, everyone have its own favorite medium, so for me, among pencils, it's definitely polychromos. While I was doing the background for this page, I had a very annoying incident. I used masking tape to prevent this page from getting recolored. So I stick masking tape like this, and I was hoping that it will prevent the watercolors from bleeding on this page, and it actually helped. And I also did the same here for this next page. So it actually worked, and all watercolors stayed on the paper, but as well as this masking tape, because I left it overnight, and when I was trying to pull it off, I pulled off some of the paper texture as well. So you can see here a little damage. I covered it, and it's barely noticeable because, yeah, you don't look on the corners of the image, obviously. But it was very annoying, and what is even worse, this page was sealed before I did it, so it didn't took as much damage as this page because it was bare paper. So there were no sealing on it, no work done on it, it was just blank. And the paper was damaged so much that I decided that this page will have an acrylic background. So I was thinking about doing the watercolor background for it as well, but I actually decided to do acrylic one because of this damage. So I was so inspired by this elephant that I decided to continue working on this book and do everything in order. So I did the next page here. Another page full of metal. I used reference for this page, the photo of the actual Tutankhamun statue, and also I used reference for all the small details like this vase and Anubis and Bastet. So everything you see on this image is actually real ancient Egypt objects that I tried to replicate on this page. Also, I'm very happy with the way I worked with shades. Yes, I used the reference, so it was a lot easier for me to do so, but I'm still very happy with it. I think that the shading here is like really dark and we have a lot of contrast, and also all the shades are making sense. Also, I wanted to draw your attention to this little plant here. When I was researching these flowers, I really want to find flowers that are very popular in Egypt, and I found out that one of the Egypt symbols is lotus, so I colored them as a blue lotus. But also I found out with the help of ChatGPT that this little flower is actually papyrus. So this is how the papyrus plant actually look like. So I was very impressed with this. I didn't know that. So almost everything on the page is pencils. I used a mix of different pencils as I always do, and I'm using my color chart to choose my colors for each page. If you want, I can do a little video about how I created this color chart, why it looked like this, how I'm using it, and yeah, so the background is done with acrylics. I tried to use dry brush technique. So it's a technique when you're putting your brush in water, then you smudge all of the water on the towel. So your brush should be very mildly watered, very, very few water on it, okay? And then you pick up some paint and rub it off the brush, so you will have a very little paint still on the brush, and then you use circle motions to transfer the paint to the page. Yeah, so I used this technique. I went from light to dark, and after I did a few brush strokes here, I looked on the other side of the page and I saw that the acrylics actually bleed through the paper. Can you imagine it? Yeah, I was surprised, like really surprised with it. I never saw this before because it's quite common to see watercolors bleed, but not acrylics. So I had to use my masking fluid to cover all the edges of the objects. There were just very little pencil work done at this point, so it was just a face and maybe a bit of the crown. Yeah, so I used my masking fluid to cover it, and then I used my secret recipe for helping water mediums not bleed through the page. So I'm using 50% matte medium and 50% water, and then I covered all the page with it. All the rest of the page, I mean, where I plan to do the background, and then I let it dry completely, and after it I applied my acrylics with the dry brush techniques I already described, and it worked like a charm. So as you can see, the transitions are quite soft for acrylics. Well, it's not perfect because I used dry technique only on miniatures before, and they are 3D objects, and not all the rules can be easily applied to the flat paper, but nevertheless I'm happy with the result. I think maybe it's a little bit too framed like, so maybe next time I will try to do more interesting shapes with it, like going somewhere there a little bit, and yeah, but overall the result is to my satisfaction. After this, I decided to do one more page in Kerby, and I finished like a few hours ago. I sealed the page and now I'm ready to show it to you. So, voila! It's this train. Fun fact, I didn't know it before I started doing this page, but I actually hate coloring trains. Can you imagine? When I was doing all these little thin pipes, I thought at some point that I will scream. It was so annoying, but I'm happy I did it because now it looks great. So what about this page? I draw the background myself, all these trees and bushes and hills and this bush as well. It's all made by me. I made it with acrylics. I think I really captured this feeling like they're very far away, these trees. So the train itself done with pencils, and the fog, the smoke, sorry, also done with pencils. But on top of the pencil work, when I was doing the fog, I used a lot of white Prismacolor pencil to soften the lines and to make it look like real smoke. And then I used a little bit of acrylics to push this effect further. I'm not exactly happy with the result on the smoke, actually. I think it's a little bit over the top, I guess. I think also that the smoke is a little bit too bright. I tried to do this like pastel, yellowish, pinkish, and a little bit of purple shades, but I think I went overboard with this, and I don't like how it turns out in general, but I really like how the train turns out. I think I really nailed this metal effect. Yeah, there were a lot of coloring metal this month, so this elephant and this mask, and after it this train, and I think that on my third attempt I really nailed this very realistic metal look, especially here. I think it looked very nice. I decided to add some gold details in the last moment because I was just looking at it and feeling like it's a bit boring. So it was my first background where I actually draw something myself, so I'm pretty proud of this page, and I think I was able to capture this moody weather, and the train really pop because of the bright colors I used for it. So this was my 3 pages done for January. I know it's just so little done, but I like them, all 3 of them, and I took my sweet coloring time with them, and I'm really happy with the results. So I think it's worth it. I would choose quality over quantity every time. So what will I color in February? I got a little bit tired of Kerby, don't get me wrong, I really like his illustrations, but I want to color something else, and I have this coloring book with me as well, so all the rest of my coloring book collections stayed on my previous address, and now I have only these 2 books with me. It doesn't mean that I can't go and grab some more, but I find these limitations actually quite liberating, because I don't have to think about which book to choose. I actually have quite complicated relationship with this book because I already done 4 illustrations in it. This one, which I hate, this one, which I totally hate as well, and this one, which I find meh, nothing special, and this one, which I actually like, but I think I went a bit overboard with all these bright colors on it, especially these very bright yellow stars. This month I will try my best to do something that I will actually like in this coloring book. So my goal is to do these 2 pages. So these are the first pages in this book. And I was looking at these pages, and they are actually the beginning of the story where our main characters are traveling in this book to have some adventures. So they're actually like reading fairy tales and preparing to sleep, and I imagine that they actually fall asleep. The rest of the book is what they see in their dreams, like they're traveling in different fairy tales, and you can actually see almost all of these characters on every illustration, like this bird and this rabbit and cat and hedgehog, like our main characters. So while I was looking at this page, I was thinking about this dreamy-like adventure, and then I started to pick up some objects like these clocks and these butterflies and the starry cushion and this ball, and I started to think about it, and I decided that my story will be that they fall asleep and all these objects that they see in their real life travel with them in their dream, just transforming to something else. So what I actually mean is that I will took the color inspiration from this page, and then I will transfer it to this page and to this one, and we'll try to make it like a 3-slide story, so they will actually look cohesive together. So this is my first goal. I had some pencils bleed through. I don't know, maybe I used my old color blender and it was just oils for oil paints and they actually bleed through, and I discovered that this is a thing very late on. So now I'm not using oil, now I'm using proper pencil blender, but I think it will be covered when I actually will color it, because yeah, it's not so bad, it's just a bit of a pink color here. So this is my first goal. The next page in this coloring book is this one. I'm actually very keen on coloring everything in order, for now at least, so I will proceed with it. But I think that this page is very spring-like, so I would rather color it on March or maybe even April, when it will be a bit warmer outside. So these 2 pages, and then I will go back to Kerby because I hope that I will get some rest by this time, and I want to do this page, this double page spread, because I have really excellent idea for this page. I think it will be very beautiful and I really want to do it, but I have to get some rest from Kerby for now. And if I will be lucky and hardworking enough, I will do both of these pages, this double page spread and also this double page spread. I have an idea for this one as well. It will be based on Kung Fu Panda, the 3rd part of Kung Fu Panda cartoon, yeah, the 3rd one, where they travel into this afterlife world. So I will base my color palette on these scenes from this cartoon. And I don't have any idea for this page yet, but I think I'll figure something out when I will color these two, and maybe I will touch this one in February. But yeah, knowing my speed and that I was able to do only 3 this month, I don't think so. But yeah, we're all allowed to have dreams. So this is it. I hope you had a great time. If you like my pages and you like what I'm doing and you enjoyed my videos, please subscribe. Seeing your views and your likes and reading your comments actually helped me a lot to stay motivated, to enjoy my hobby a lot more. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!